Hello, everybody. So great to be back on day 3 of the self care challenge. I'm really excited to talk to you about today's habit that I'm recommending. And, you know, at, but before I get started, I really want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has sent me a message, um, who has thanked me for the information. Um, I'm very grateful for all of you who are watching and the response that's happening because if you're seeing change in your life and you're making habits and you're feeling something deep to your core, then so am I because I'm doing this for you. And so, thank you for the feedback because it makes it so worth it, all the hard work and everything that goes into it. So, um, today is going to be interesting and maybe a little challenging for some of you. And so, if something does challenge you, um, just kind of sit with it and see how it makes you feel. And don't check out of the conversation. Stay with me for the 15 minutes, but definitely maybe write it down. Think about why you had a challenging feeling about it. I learned that from my friend Christina to, if you're feeling something, there's a reason, but don't let it check you out. So today we're going to be talking about forming a habit of reframing, the act of recentering your focus. When we were little kids and you'd get those little plastic toys, maybe in a goodie bag or in one of those machines at the pizza place, just a little plastic toy, and there would be a maze, and you would be lifting and tipping and turning, and there'd be that little silver ball, and you were trying to get the silver ball to the center of the toy, and you're going left, you're going right, and you're struggling, and you're trying to follow the maze, and you have that goal to be centered, to get that ball in the center. And that's what we're talking about today, is finding a way to get to that place and be centered, to be focused, to reframe the situations in your life that have you completely off kilter. So the Native American culture has their own compass, just like we in the Western world have our own compass. They have a north, a south, an east, and a west, just like we do. But they also have center. They have a center as part of their compass, their directional guide. The center is the focus of their spirit. So no matter where they are, north, south, east, or west, they can stay centered because that's a part of their culture. And I just think that maybe that's not part of our culture. And so it's something that we have to form a habit to do. So today I want to share with you a couple of stories that I'm, show how I learned how to reframe thanks to my friend Allison. Um, and then we're going to get a little deeper into the habit. I'm going to give you 3 tools to learn how to reframe. And the point is, like, if you're starting to be upset, if you're feeling um, disgruntled with someone, to make it a habit to reframe, to consider the situation differently. So, first, I'm going to take a deep breath. Everybody, take a deep breath. This is a big topic, so let's get centered. First, I want to say, whatever situation you are in, no person has ever been or will be in the situation that you're in right now. We're all unique. Our lives are unique. Our stories are unique. And every day is a personal experience. Every day, every moment, every week, every year. It's your life, your feelings, and your past that are uniquely your own. So only you know what is actually going on inside of your head and heart. That's like a crazy thing that and we all have more in common than we know, but we don't talk about it. So, my hope is this habit will represent your ability to be able to heal yourself from a tough moment, a tough day, or a tough week. When you've had significant events in your life, people often don't know what to say to you. We all know that empty feeling of wanting to comfort someone who's lost a loved one. And we believe there are no words that could possibly comfort them. But there's actually a lot of healing that can come from words in time of need, a tender touch, a hug, holding a hand, or just simply sitting with someone in silence. Sometimes, though, we have to provide our own solace and we have to comfort ourselves because there's not somebody there or we're not willing to share. There's a lot of reasons why, but we have to learn how to comfort ourselves, how to change how we feel about something. So, you can start today, you can start tomorrow, and you can start next year, but you eventually have to make decision about the next step after you have a big event in your life or you have something traumatic or just something upsetting. But you have to decide to make that change. It's your decision. So, I wanted to talk to you about two conversations with my friend Allison, one of which is from my book. I met her on the Camino de Santiago in Portugal. It's a pilgrimage hike that actually goes Portugal and into Spain, into Santiago, Spain. We met there on the very first day and ended up walking the entire hike together. So she's actually a Canadian American, and she is a yogi, and I learned an enormous amount from her. I talk about centered. She is centered. Um, I asked her when I was interviewing her for my book, what would be a good piece of advice that she had received from someone when she was going through a big life change. And she said there were many, many pieces of advice, of course, but that her best friend had said to her, "This is going to look different in a year." And she said that really just caught her. I mean, she was like, oh, that's powerful. And then she said, you can actually whittle it down to this will look different next week. This will look different tomorrow. And if you let it, this will look different an hour from now. So then she said, you can whittle it down to um, every single little problem. If you can find a way to look at these problems in the same way. So it actually put things in perspective for her. And when she felt stuck or entangled in some kind of situation like that, she might have this feeling like, God, this is going to change everything. This is going to be like this forever. She would remember what her best friend had told her. So, and that is a reframe. This will look different tomorrow. This will look different a year from now. And I remember when I was going through my divorce, I really couldn't see past the pain I was feeling right then. And I couldn't see that definitely I'm going to be happy again. That's who I am. I'm a positive person. I'm going to find my way back to happy, but I couldn't see that. So this is the first reframe. So I hope write it down. If you can create a shift, even if it's temporary, that will focus beyond the belief that this is permanent, then you are getting yourself unstuck. So another thing that happened with Allison when we were on the Camino, she asked me a question that started with, and have you considered the possibility that? So that's a beginning reframe statement. Have you considered the possibility that? Have I considered the possibility that, dot, dot, dot. And she was asking me something about my ex-husband and our relationship. And then she said, have you considered that because this happened, because he did that you are now free to be here, to do this, to be on the Camino? And at first I was like, I don't really want to hear this right now. Thank you, Allison. But it has now become a habit of mine. And I say it to friends. I say it to my clients who are facing a tough situation. When someone is in a troubled state of mind and is feeling rough, then they really can't see past their situation. So the realization that nothing is permanent can come first, right? Like, this is going to look different tomorrow. This is going to look different a month from now. But then you have time to think, have I considered the possibility that this is actually going to open a door for me, that I will actually be happier out of that relationship, that I will actually go on and possibly live my dream that I never would have lived had I stayed in that old job. There's a million ways to do this. So when I asked Allison how she learned to say that, have you considered the possibility that, um, she said somebody had said it to her, but it really became this realization about her own life. She had a breakup of a marriage. She had a later relationship that didn't work out. And then somebody says this to her, and it really changed how she saw her life. She said she had the recognition that life is happening for her, not to her. And I think Tony Robbins says the exact same thing. But it's where she learned that she's the starring attraction of her own life. So how do you want to feel in these moments of terror, tragedy, devastation? Do you want to feel some kind of control? Do you want to feel centered? That comes from the ability to reframe. We are totally free to choose how we want to be and how we want to show up and how we want to respond. And the knowledge that comes along with the path of life teachings that you receive over the years, the experiences that you have, you take all that in and have the realization that the world is not happening to you. The world is happening for you. And you have a voice in the narrative. The things that are going on around you are happening for you. And sometimes those are tough things, and they help you move on. They help you get out of a situation. They help you pick up, put your big girl panties on and move on. And if you think about life as a pathway and you're walking, because I always talk about the Camino. The Camino means the way. And the way you're walking, that path that you're on, if you're constantly looking for danger or you're constantly trying to protect yourself, how much joy are you going to have in your life? But if you're walking along the path and you're inquisitive, you're being creatively thinking about what you could see and what you could do with this memory, and you're curious about what's coming around the corner, it's a totally different way to live. You don't look back of where you've been on the path. You look forward. Nothing can change the past except your perception. Your perception of the past can change. So, as I mentioned, the habit for today is reframing. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. I've given you two, and I'm going to review those, and then I'm going to give you my favorite. So hang on to the end because it's my fave. So the first is, this will look different tomorrow. This will look different a year from now, a month from now. Look at your situation very closely and see that it's not permanent. No situation can be or ever will be permanent. The second thing is to reframe something by saying, have I ever considered that? Have I ever considered that this hard thing is going to make me a stronger person? That job was holding me back? That relationship was causing me fear, anxiety? Have I ever considered that? And that it is time to move on. Most people are acting out of their own volition, out of their own pain. Their action may hurt you, but it also may not be intentional. So you have to reframe it within yourself. Here comes the third one. This is my favorite. My in-laws taught us this, and we've taught our children this. But when you're in a situation and it's feeling like a battle, and it is a fight, and there's no resolution in sight, nobody's backing down, the way to peacefully, even if it is temporarily, the way to peacefully end a fight when neither person is really willing to let go is by saying this. 4 words. You could be right. Think about if we did that in politics. You could be right. If you have a partner you love and you care about, and they say that to you, you need to have the same respect for them and vice versa. It's a very powerful tool that you can teach your children, young children, adult children, teach your friends, co-workers. Gosh, imagine in the workplace how valuable that would be. You're showing them that there's always the possibility that the other person fully believes what they're saying and that they cannot see your point of view. And, if that's possible, they will see your point of view or you'll come to a different kind of agreement. If you can recognize that there's a possibility there might just be something that you're not right about, that you're missing, that there might be a little piece that you're not right about. See, the older we get, the more skill sets we have to deal with conflict in our life. And reframing is not something that comes naturally. We want to feel heard, we want to feel seen, and we want to feel understood. It's easy to dig in and not make the relationship the most important thing. The most important thing should be your happiness. So don't let being right be the most important thing. The most important thing is to be happy. So again, the habit is reframing. Here's 3 tools to do that. This will look different tomorrow. This will look different next week. That's number 1. Number 2, have I considered the possibility that? And 3, you could be right. You could be right. So let's practice some reframing this weekend, today, tomorrow, this weekend. If there's something that's bothering you, if someone has hurt your feelings, if there's just something really long-term pain that you're holding on to, how can you reframe that? As usual, I am available to talk about these things. I'm happy to hop on a call, send me a direct message, and I will schedule that with you. And if you'd like to join my email list, these are the type of tips that I share all the time, and I would love for you to do that. You can go to ckcollins.co and join the email list. Just look for the word newsletter. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing everybody for day 4. And if you have some successes, send me a message. I can't wait to hear about it. Thank you.